Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this 2018 calendar. It's freestanding, stands on the desk just like that. I've made 65 of these for swaps for when I go to the Stampin' Up OnStage Convention this coming weekend. By the time I publish the video, the convention will be over and hopefully I will have swapped and got back 65 different ideas from other demonstrators. So I'm going to show you how I made this. As you can see, I used all different colours and designer series papers. So let's just move those out of the way. And I'm going to show you the cardstock that I've used. Using a different colour, I'm going to be using powder pink. So to start off with, the card pieces you're going to need is a piece of powder pink cardstock which measures 6 inches by 9¼ inches, which is 15.2 by 23.25 centimetres. You need a piece of Whisper White which measures 5 7/8 inches by 3¼ inches, which is 14.9 by 8.2 centimetres. Then a piece of designer series paper, and this one's from Fresh Florals, and this measures 5 3/4 inches by 3 1/8 inch, which is 14.6 by 7.9 centimetres. And then you will need a piece of Whisper White that measures 2 1/8 inches by 3 1/8 inches. Now this and this piece, it obviously depends on the size of your calendar. The powder pink cardstock that you need, because we're going to be lining that like that, and then the calendar. So that needs to be 2 inches by 3 inches, which is 5.1 by 7.6 centimetres. As a matter of interest, my calendar measures 2 7/8 inches long and 1 7/8 inches tall. So what else did we need? For the 2 flowers, we need a piece of Whisper White which measures 2 3/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 7 by 14 centimetres. And then we need another piece for the leaves, which measure 1 3/4 by 5 1/2, which seems far too long to me. Only need 2. About half of that I would have thought. Let's say 1 3/4 inches by 3 inches, which would be 4.4 by 7.6 centimetres. So there we go. As there are lots of pieces here, what I'm going to do first is to adhere all the pieces together. Now the first thing I'm going to do is with the calendar, and I recommend that you try and buy the ones with the stitching here. They're less likely to come apart in my experience, and if the stitching does come undone, the pages seem to stay together, because where the needle has gone in to sew the stitches, it seems to have pressed them all in so it holds. But not being one for taking any chances, what I do is, I've got a hair here, long one, must be one of mine. Right, I use the red sticky strip. Now I imagine with this you could probably get away with just putting making sure that you put Tombow on here when you stick it down, but as I say, I don't like to take chances. This is something that's got to last for a whole year. So what I do is I put the red sticky strip on there and make sure it's sticking down really nicely with using my fingernail. And I take the red backing off, and did you know they're very, very static, and it's difficult to put them down, but did you know they cling to glass? So I tend to put mine in the little glass like that, and it's really easy to put it down. And now I'm going to give you another little tip. I'm going to put this onto my pink piece using Tombow, and if you put Tombow over that red sticky strip, it will allow you to move the calendar around until you're happy you've got it into place. And then the when the Tombow settles, when it dries, the red sticky strip takes over. Okay, so if you're not happy when you first put it down, even though you've got the red sticky strip there, you can still move it. Okay, and then just make sure you give a nice good press along that stitched piece. Now that goes on top of this white piece. You can use fast fuse for this bit, or tear and tape. There we go, that's okay. So I'm going to put that to one side. We're not going to need that for a little while. Then I'm going to put the designer series paper onto the white piece. Again, fast fuse will be fine for this, or tear and tape. And I think snail's okay for this because you're adhering paper. Okay, so that's good. And let's pop that away. Now I'm going to do the scoring. Let's get my scoring tool and my scoreboard. Make sure you can see that. My scoring tool is a bit, it doesn't slide very nicely over my cardstock, so I just go over my cardstock with some waxed paper. I know there are other things that you can do with the actual stylus, like sticking it in soap or candle wax or something, but I find the wax paper works fine for me. Right, now we're going to do scoring. The first one is at 3 3/8 inches, which is 8.5 centimetres. Next one, 6 3/4 inches, which is 17 centimetres. And then 7 3/4 inches, which is 19.5 centimetres. And then 8 3/4 inches, which is 22 centimetres. And that's all we need to do. So next we're going to fold this. So if you turn your cardstock over so that you've got the mounted folds towards you, you'll need your bone folder, and make sure you got the biggest square down to you first of all. This one, that's right. And then fold that upwards, making sure that you get this lined up straight here, and then score with your, burnish with your bone folder, and then turn this around the other way, and then fold again. You've got 3 score lines here, 1, 2, 3, so fold on the third one, make sure that's nice and straight again, burnish. Now bring this back onto the second fold score line, and then flip it like that so that you can score, burnish, get your terminology right, then open it up again, and then fold the last one up. Okay, so all your folds are going to go inwards except for this one here, the middle one in between the 3. Okay, so you got that one going the same as that direction, this outside one going the same as that direction, but this one is on its own. Okay, now I'm not going to put this together just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on there. Again, I'm using Tombow. If you've got directional pattern like writing or music, it's important that you've got your paper up this way, and this way is where you've got the 3 little folds down the bottom, okay, because that's how your calendar will be standing. And then I'm going to put my calendar on here, and all I'm going to do is eyeball this so that it's in there about 1/2 inch gap all round. Okay, just hold that up, make sure it looks straight. Oops. Oh, that's right. The actual pattern isn't very straight. Oh, see how you see more and more flower as it comes down. It doesn't look very straight to me. But Tombow's not going to allow me to do any more. Okay, that's fine. Straight enough. Right, next, what do I do? I'm going to stick this bit together now. And what I do, I find Tombow is really nice and easy with this. Now, whether you could get away doing this the same way as me, if you're using fast fuse, I don't know. I think I might get away with it because I'm using Tombow and it allows you a bit of movement. But if you normally use fast fuse, then you're a better expert than I am, and you'll know whether you'll be able to do this or not. But what I do is I put my Tombow all the way along there, and then I use my paper piercer just to hold that bit down and then press that over. Okay, nice and easy. And then that will stand up beautifully. Now sometimes when I do this, I find that I've got a little bit of an edge here, but it doesn't affect the way it stands up. Okay, as long as you've made sure that where I've said, make sure it lines up, make sure it lines up. As long as you've done that, it will be fine. So next we're going to do our stamping, and I'm going to be using the daisy stamp, this for the flower. I'm going to be using the faceted gems for the centre of my flower, but if you want to use a stamp, I would suggest you do that one for the centre, and then just punch that out. I can't remember what size that was now. I used to do that quite some. Oh dear, I can only find my noisy ruler. Just make sure I don't drop it. Yes, just punch it out with a 1/2 inch circle punch, and then that fits in the centre really nicely. The leaves I am doing from Painted Harvest, and I'm going to do that one and that one because there's a punch to go with that. Like the daisy, there's a punch to go with that as well. So I'm using powder pink for my flowers, and when you do flowers, make it so that you've got the petals going straight up, straight down, because that's the way it goes in your punch. Let's just bring this down a bit so that I can make sure I'm on the paper. Give it a good press because powder pink is quite a pale colour. Albeit a beautiful colour. There we go. Pop that up there. And then with the leaves I use Wild Wasabi, and there's an outline stamp, which is that one, and there's an infill stamp, which is that one, and this one I stamp off. So I have my scrap paper here, and for quite some time I used to struggle with this punch, but I've now sussed it, so I'm going to tell you exactly how I do this. Right, so I only need 2 leaves. There we go, that piece was miles too big. Don't know why how I managed to do that. Right, now I've inked up, stamp off once, and then the way I line this one up is I'm lining up the upright stem and the 2 little stems that go out. Once I'm happy with that, then I make sure the curve of the 2 side leaves are lined up. Right, that's my stems. I hope that was okay. Yes, good. And then for the other one, stamp off. Stems are all lined up. That's that leaf lined up. There we go. Brilliant, okay. So that's that done. Get that one out of the way. Now, first of all, the daisy punch. As I say, that the petals go straight down, so it makes punching very easy. So just line that up. That's it. That one. And then with the leaf, I found that I was forever getting a lot of white around the leaves, and I was cutting it off. But I thought, no, you don't have to do that. This is a Stampin' Up product, therefore it should work beautifully. So what I found is where the bottom of that leaf is and the bottom of that leaf, can you see all the white that's visible? I've also made sure that the stem is straight, and that is the secret, having that white bit visible at the bottom of both leaves. On that, there's more or less the same amount of white all the way round. Spot on. I wish I'd found out sooner. Right, let's try that again, see if I can do it twice. Okay, see that. Brilliant, pleased with that. So now all we have to do is to put our card together. So with the daisy, I'm very gently just going to curl the petals slightly. If you're a person who does craft shows, this is a great thing for selling. And when you're putting the flowers and the leaves together, make sure they don't come over the edge if your calendar fits into your cello bag perfectly. I'll show you what I mean as I get there. Okay, so those two, I don't do anything with these leaves. If you want to curl them, obviously you could do, but I use our mini dimensionals and I put one on each leaf. You could just glue this straight down if you didn't want dimensionals. There we go. Now for these, I just put some Tombow in the middle, and then I line these up so that the top petals go in between the petals underneath. And then on here, I don't put another dimensional underneath here because I feel there's enough dimension with the actual petals going up. And then I just pop that, what I think to be is in the middle. Just give it a few seconds for Tombow to get a hold. And then for the leaves, this is a bit that easily comes over the edge, but I'm going to show you the easy way of getting it back onto the calendar, onto the calendar. Right, so the first one, I'm going to just push the stalk underneath there. Make sure that this doesn't get stuck onto there, but now I'm deliberately making this come over the edge. Okay, like that. I don't want that there because I know it will get caught in my bag. So what I do is I just bend it round. It's very, very cooperative. It's got a little bend there, but it's hardly noticeable. Now this one I find generally goes on perfectly without any kind of overhang, but even so, if I wanted to, I could curl that one up a bit. Okay, so it's just that, you know, you can make the leaves look different. Right, let's get rid of that, and I think we have done. No, we haven't. We've got to put our little gem there, and I'm using these, which are clear faceted gems. These are a really nice size to go in here. There we go. So there we go, there's today's project. Really nice and simple. I hope you like it, and I hope you give it a try. It's a lovely gift for somebody, and it lasts all year round, obviously. Where's my other ones gone? Let's just bring a few more in here. And it works with all colours. I thought there was one. Oh yeah, this one. They've all got the same colour flower as the DSP and also the flower, but this one, obviously I didn't want a green flower, green leaves and green background, so I just changed that. And I think I've used Flirty Flamingo there as well. And that's one of the gold faceted gems, like that. That's a clear one. That's gold. That's what I would call, that one is what I call silver. But there you go. So there we go. That's today's project. Many thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, there'll be a link to my 24/7 shop, online shop, in the box below. Also in the box below I will list out the products I've used on this one, and also all the measurements. Did I say if you've got any comments, please leave them in the box below. I'm always happy to help you. And finally, if you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I believe you have to also tick that you would like to be notified for each video. And finally, if you'd like to give me a thumbs up, that'd be appreciated. Many thanks. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.